Revelation chapter 17, verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. For the Most High hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah YAHAWASHI, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, great millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect of Israel. The EU will continue their business with Iran regardless of U.S. sanctions. This is going to lead to the division between the EU and America. This is going to further isolate America, leaving America alone. The 10 horns are the EU, the European Union. The beast is NATO. They're going to hate the whore. The whore is America, Babylon the Great. And they're going to make America desolate and naked and eat her flesh and burn her with fire, meaning they're going to destroy America with nuclear missiles. For the Most High have put in their hearts to fulfill his will. And that's the whole point. So I'm going to play these video clips, and I hope you're edified.
The European Union is committed to mitigating the impact of US sanctions on European businesses and taking steps to maintain the growth of trade and economic relations between the EU and Iran that began when sanctions were lifted.
Well, here's RT's Mag Gazdiev with a closer look at the souring relations between the US and the EU and the latest move by Brussels.
No arguing with it. America and Europe had something special, a relationship unlike any other. They did everything together, condemned rogue regimes, slapped naughty countries with sanctions. Heck, they even bombed who they wanted together.
We have a very strong relationship
with our friends and partners.
Our friends in the US administration.
We have a really great relationship.
Close friends, allies and partners.
This is this very special relationship. This is us.
Almost too good to be true. And it seems it was. Money trumps all. Now that America has unilaterally pulled out of the nuclear deal with Iran, it could start sanctioning European states, companies that haven't, that do business with Iran. EU leaders, Merkel, Macron, others, tried to change Trump's mind with love.
Congratulations, I can see. Great victory.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Except love has nothing on money. Europeans are facing American sanctions. That's not very nice, is it? Not something friends would do.
Looking at the latest decisions of President Trump, someone could even think, with friends like that, who needs enemies?
Europe has had enough. They stand to lose cash because of America, and they won't let that happen.
As the European Commission, we have the duty to protect European companies, so we now need to act. And this is why we're launching the process of activating the blocking statute from 1996.
What Europe is doing is using a statute initially developed to circumvent Washington's trade embargo on Cuba. The law basically protects European states from laws or sanctions implemented outside of Europe. Few can see a political resolution. Look at America's new ambassador to Germany. Hours after being confirmed, he threatens German companies.
As Donald Trump said, US sanctions will target critical sectors of Iran's economy. German companies doing business in Iran should wind down operations immediately.
My advice after a long ambassadorial career: explain your country's policies and lobby the host country, but never tell the host country what to do if you want to stay out of trouble. Germans are eager to listen, but they will resent instructions.
Trump's bully boy tactics haven't gone down well in Europe. The bloc is finally showing its teeth.
What we defend on this subject, as on others, is the trading sovereignty of Europe, and what we demand is to be exempted without any conditions and limits.
What do we want to be? Vassals that would obey blindly to what Americans tell them? Or do we want us Europeans to say that we have economic interests and we want to have economic relations with Iran?
What can you say? Every relationship has its bumps. It's just that some bumps end in divorce.
We should not overestimate the importance of trade with Iran as a whole with Europe. This is a matter that might be very crucial to specific smaller companies that, for example, have a large part of their trade with Iran. I mean, the big companies, of course, they're going to choose for the better, and they're going to say our interests lie more with the US than with Iran, and they're going to not risk these kind of sanctions. What the real impact is going to be, that remains to be seen. We should not forget that the EU on foreign policy issues, it has always been strong on words, on symbols, but not that much on real implementation.
The European Union has come up with an action plan to keep the Iran nuclear deal alive after the US reneged on the agreement. Leaders reiterated their commitment to it as they arrived at the EU summit and vowed to introduce measures to counter US sanctions. However, European businesses working in Iran aren't convinced. Well, let's get more on this now from Peter Oliver, who joins us live and is across this story for us. Peter, then, just go through how is the EU planning to respond to those US threats to punish those who do want to do business with Iran?
Well, they've come together in Sofia for this EU summit that had been planned before, but it is the first time that they've all met together since Donald Trump made that decision to pull the US out of the Iran deal. Now, as they were heading into this summit, well, we heard from EU leaders, the real political big guns of the EU, coming out and saying that they were fully committed to the deal as they'd signed it.
We will work to maintain the framework of the 2015 deal in spite of the American decision. And we will do so in a concrete manner, by maintaining our political engagements, by ensuring that our companies can stay in Iran, and also by getting all parties to pursue negotiations for a larger, indispensable deal. The 2015 agreement needs to be completed with a nuclear agreement after 2025, an agreement on the ballistic activities and the regional presence of Iran.
The French President Emmanuel Macron there, and similar noises have been coming out of Berlin as well. We understand Angela Merkel, the German Chancellor, also committed to the deal as it was signed. But it's a lot of big talk from the politicians. The business leaders don't share that optimism of them being able to keep the Iran deal alive without the United States. Now, we've seen European business leaders casting these doubts over it just recently, while Germany's Allianz, the insurance giant, have said they're going to start winding down their operations in Iran. Same for the Danish tanker operator, the shipping company Maersk, saying the same thing. They're going to start winding down their operations. And the French petrochemicals giant Total, they've also said that they may well look to pull out of Iran to stop them facing US sanctions. Now, Total, they proposed a $1 billion investment in Iranian projects over the coming years. That was just back in 2017. They've already spent $46 million, but we understand they're willing to pull the plug on that project.
Total will not be in a position to continue the SP11 project and will have to unwind all related operations before the 4th of November 2018, unless Total is granted a specific project waiver by the US authorities, with the support of the French and European authorities.
So there's a lot of talk from the politicians that they're going to be able to protect business from US sanctions. However, the business themselves, not too sure they're going to be able to do that. If we look at the relationship, though, between Europe and the United States, it is at a particular impasse right now. And I think it's best summed up if we can listen to the EU Commission President, Donald Tusk. He was speaking on Wednesday and had this to say.
Looking at the latest decisions of President Trump, someone could even think, with friends like that, who needs enemies. But frankly speaking, Europe should be grateful by President Trump. He has made us realize that if you need a helping hand, you will find one at the end of your arm.
It is worth noting that just about everybody has also been talking up the importance of the transatlantic relationship. But if we look at what Angela Merkel said just this week, she said that Europe was at a crossroads when it came to that relationship. And it certainly does seem like it may be in for, well, taking on a different form in the future, or at least in the immediate future.